Released in 2001 for the PS2, and a year later for the PC, and a year after that for the Xbox system, we have Grand Theft Auto 3. And this game was really something when it came out. It just blew everybody's minds away. It was unbelievable. Now, the previous games in the Grand Theft Auto series by Rockstar were a two-dimensional top-down game. Same basic kind of gameplay, except it was just two-dimensional, and you just saw a bird's-eye view of all the action. And the thing that caught everybody's eye with Grand Theft Auto 3 was the fact that it was in 3D. It was a three-dimensional environment, and they kept the same sandbox-type gameplay and non-linear missions, except you had this great big 3D world to explore and wreak havoc in. And that was just simply f***ing amazing. People got lost in the Grand Theft Auto world, just playing it and exploring it and trying different things with the 3D environment. This is the opening sequence, and it's shot like a movie. It's got a cinematic intro to kind of kick the story off.
Sorry, babe. I'm an ambitious girl. You're just small time.
Now, if you haven't guessed already, you play the role of a criminal, and your goal is to work your way back up the criminal ladder and become top dog in Liberty City, which is consequently where the newest version of this game, Grand Theft Auto 4, takes place. They like to move around from game to game to different cities and different eras and create like a nice, unique kind of feel to each game by introducing new cities and new time periods. This one is Liberty City, modeled after New York City, and it's supposed to take place at the same current time that the game was released.
That followed the initial attack. Revelations as to the professionalism of the attack struck police hours afterward, when identification of the missing felons were further hampered by an attack by computer hackers on police headquarters databases. With the Porter Tunnel project...
Now, you're still watching the intro sequence. It's almost over, though. The gameplay's about to begin very shortly.
Come on! Senor Dickhead! It's no problem to kill you. You're gonna be sorry.
Oh, I'd also like to make note that you're looking at the double pack version of the game that was packaged with Vice City. And this version of the game has some graphical improvements over the original. So if you're playing the original at home for the PS2 or the PC, it's going to look slightly different. They just made a couple of minor graphical adjustments to make it look a little smoother in this version. There's one thing I forgot about because it's been some time since I played this game, and that's the load scenes. There is a lot of loading in this game, and I guess it's just a product of the time. But it was distracting, and you forget how distracting that can be, because most modern games do their best to eliminate loading altogether or as limited as possible. Now we're just into the start of actual gameplay, and true to the Grand Theft Auto series, it starts as a tutorial, but it's a well-blended tutorial. They incorporate all the elements of the tutorial into the storyline. So it doesn't feel like a tutorial, even though it is. Tutorial. I just had to say it one more time. Anyhow, enough silliness. On with the review. the start of gameplay is an introduction to vehicles and how to enter them and drive them around, and how to use your little map in the bottom left-hand side. That was a new feature to the Grand Theft Auto series, this little map, and it's stuck with the series. It's a very useful, very handy little feature, and it played so well in Grand Theft Auto 3 that you saw it return in Vice City, I believe, and I know it's in San Andreas, and pretty sure it's in GTA 4 also. But I'm sure if I'm wrong on one of these, somebody's going to call me on it.
Right here. Let's get off the street and find a change.
Here we have right away the intro of the safe house. And I was never a big fan of the safe house method of saving, especially in Grand Theft Auto, because you might complete a mission and it doesn't have an autosave. You have to make your way after the mission back to the safe house. And a lot of things can happen between the end of the mission and the safe house. Like accidentally running over a cop or something, which always sucks, because then you gotta fight your way back to save it. Now, it wouldn't be a Grand Theft Auto game if it wasn't without controversy, and there's a lot of different controversies in this game. Most notably is sex and violence. The sex is pretty tame and mild. They don't actually show sex, it's just kind of implied. And there's things like prostitutes in the game. I just picked one up for part of my mission, but I don't actually have sex with her. I just have to pick her up and deliver her somewhere. And yeah, and the violence was the other thing in the game that drew a lot of heat. And yeah, the game is graphically violent, and there's a lot of senseless violence in the game, and running over pedestrians, things of that nature. It's not required in the game, but it's things that you can do, and it's things that made the game fun. So the main gameplay revolves around missions and passing them to progress the plot, but a lot of other things you know can be done in Grand Theft Auto 3 just for fun, and that's what I enjoyed about the game. You could just decide to go on a rampage and beat a pedestrian with a baseball bat until he's a bloody mess, steal his fucking car, and go, buck wild on the town. Because let's be honest, I mean, we all wish we could do these things in real life at some point in time. Maybe on a Monday morning on your way to work when you're sitting in traffic. But you can't, because we live in a civilized society. But the world of Grand Theft Auto 3 is not civilized. Oh, and one major bone of contention I have in the gameplay is the targeting. It just absolutely sucks. You can see it's really hard. I have the target highlighting one cop and it's shooting a totally different way. The targeting was pretty poor, and it didn't improve until, I think, San Andreas. But aside from acting like a total psychopath for fun in the game, I also like to drive like an insane maniac. And really, just drive balls out to the wall and wreck a car really good, jump out of it when it's on fire, steal another one, and drive it off a cliff or something. That's a good time. I mean, that's the definition of good time in a video game, at least in my opinion. And that's the beauty of Grand Theft Auto 3, or most of the Grand Theft Auto series, is that you can just have fun f***ing around. Plain and simple. Oh, my second bone of contention with the gameplay is the camera movement. You can't control the camera unless you stop moving and use the other thumbstick, and then it puts you in a first-person perspective to readjust the camera. And it's just a general pain in the ass. But that's a minor complaint. 3D games are pretty new at this point, and camera adjustment was still a work in progress. It wasn't a defined science yet. But anyhow, enough about cameras. Did you see that f***ing jump? That was awesome. That's why I play this game. That's just fun. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto 3, revolutionary game, awesome game, a whole lot of fun. It broke ground in many ways, and it's a general good time. You owe it to yourself to play this game. Pop it in for old school's sake, and kick it back to your roots with Grand Theft Auto 3. I'm Dommy from Classic Games Revisited. Until next time.